A Madison radio station is planning security upgrades after someone broke in and shot a DJ inside the studio on Sunday morning.
And it's been a busy summer of turnover for Madison's Common Council. We'll tell you about two new faces officially joining that group tonight.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is Tuesday, August 7th. Another bit of a kind of cloudy. We're getting some specks of sun out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit of sunshine this morning, but clouds will return for the afternoon, and there is a chance for some rain in the forecast. Not a bad day, though. I wouldn't cancel any plans. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. You can see the sun just coming above the horizon this morning. Sunrise officially about 5 minutes ago. There has been some fog, and we're still dealing with reduced visibility in Boscoville and Lone Rock, but some improvement in the Dells and even Camp Douglas, so that's good news. The fog seems to be confined to those low-lying spots. Temperatures early today are in the low to mid-60s in most spots, although a few cities have dropped into the 50s. Still falling in the Dells with 58 right now, 57 in Camp Douglas. Temperatures will climb into the upper 70s, though, later on this afternoon with a light easterly wind. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps. We'll see what's happening on the roads this morning in the Madison area. Just a few brake lights on the Beltline near Stoughton Road. A little slow inbound on Verona Road as well as you approach the Beltline. No accidents to report right now, though, so you're still going at posted speeds heading into Madison.
That sunrise keeps getting later and later. It's such a bummer.
I know, scary, isn't it?
It really, like, we're finally getting a view of the full sunrise at 6
o'clock, yeah.
Bummer. All right. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
We start this morning with a developing story out of Janesville, where the medical examiner is working to figure out how a 65-year-old man found in the Rock River yesterday actually died. Sergeant with the Janesville Police Department told reporters it didn't appear the man had been in the water for long. Authorities know who he is, say after an autopsy later today, the medical examiner will release his name. Now, a police department spokesman said there have not been any reports of missing or endangered people in that area recently.
We're continuing to follow the investigation and search for a suspect after a shooting at the WORT-FM radio station early Sunday morning. A 33-year-old DJ was hurt in that incident, but no one was seriously injured. Police say while they believe the shooter was targeting the station, they do not think this was a direct attack on the media. Now, the WORT board president says he's looking into security upgrades for the Bedford Street building, like new cameras at entrances and exits and individual key cards for staff members to get in. He says the situation over the weekend could have been a lot worse.
And I was stunned. I was shocked. It was like, I've heard about this happening in other places. Even in this community, there's been shootings, but to have it happen in your organization to people you know is really deeply troubling.
The shooting happened just after 3 a.m. Sunday, which is actually during a show change. Devereux Webster, who you just heard from there, believes whoever this shooter was knew about the transition and took the opportunity to get in. Again, Madison police continue to look for a suspect this morning. 6:03
right now. Wisconsin's primary elections 1 week from today. People voting in 2 wards in Madison are going to have to cast their ballots in a different location than normal. The new state building at Hill Farms does not meet accessibility requirements like the old state office building did there. Instead, voting in Ward 84 is going to be moved to Mount Olive Lutheran Church on Whitney Way. People in Ward 85 are going to be moved to the Wellspring United Methodist Church on South Hill Drive. Now, even if you don't vote in those wards, it's a good opportunity to see where your polling place is located and what's on your specific ballot at myvote.wi.gov. Wisconsin's newest Supreme Court justice will spend her first full day on the job today. Rebecca Dallett won the April election to serve a 10-year term on the bench. She was sworn in yesterday by retired Justice Louis Butler. Dallett replaces Justice Michael Gableman, who decided against seeking a second term. 2 new alders will be sworn into Madison's Common Council tonight. Keith Furman will replace Mark Clear as the alder for District 19 until the spring election next year. Clear is leaving the council after taking a new full-time job. The replacement, Alan Arnsten, is coming in for District 13 alder Sarah Estridge. He will also be sworn in. Eskridge, that is moving to the Milwaukee area for a new position there. Now, Arnsten is a recently retired trial lawyer. Clear and Eskridge will also be commended for their service to the city at the start of tonight's meeting. 6:04 right now. A state study committee is looking today at how property values are assessed around the state, and the city of Janesville is actually in the middle of that process right now for the first time in years. City officials say that could lead to a pretty dramatic change in how much commercial and residential properties are actually worth in that Rock County community. Josh Josh Spreiter's live in Janesville this morning with what residents can expect. Good morning.
Good morning. If you live here in Janesville, you'll be notified around this time next summer regarding those assessment changes to your property. But before you worry about a big jump in what you're paying in taxes, the city assessor says this revaluation is actually a good thing. A more lucrative real estate market is a good indicator for the local economy. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean Janesville will receive more money. Its revenue is capped by state-imposed levy limits.
Contrary to popular belief, they are revenue neutral. If the whole community goes up 20%, then the mill rate will come down. So we're just trying to re-account for where those market values are now, so it'll readjust things.
City Assessor Michelle Lobby says a seller's real estate market has drastically increased prices for residential properties in the past 2 years. Right now, she's predicting around a 20% increase. The last time the city completed a revaluation was back in 2011. If you'd like to dig a little deeper into what you might be looking at next year, the city has posted a link on their website, and you can find all of this information right now on channel3000.com.
All right, good information. Thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate it.
6:06 right now, and the Greater Madison Convention and Visitors Bureau will update alders tonight on how well this year's CrossFit Games went. That event just wrapped up Sunday on the Alliant Energy Center grounds. Last year, the competition drew out 70,000 visitors who spent an estimated $12 million in Madison and the surrounding area. According to the latest statistics, the Visitors Bureau says tourists brought $1.25 billion to Dane County last year. Almost half of that came from food, drink, and shopping. Now, the Bureau is going to present more numbers to the council tonight and share how projects like Judge Doyle Square downtown and plans to build up the area around the Alliant Energy Center could attract even more tourism in the future.
I'm tired watching those guys.
I know.
The local brewery is hoping to get its liquor license approved tonight so it can be ready right after Madison's new concert venue opens up next month. Common Council is going to decide whether Vintage Brewing Company can sell alcohol at its new space next to the Sylvie on East Wash. The brewery wants to open a bar, a restaurant, and outdoor eating space there on October 1st. The first concert at the Sylvie is set for the end of September. Last month, the Marquette Neighborhood Association voted unanimously to support Vintage's liquor license request. The neighborhood, though, asked the brewery to control the possible noise level coming from its outdoor patio. 6:07 right now. There are radio, TV, and internet commercials running right now in Wisconsin talking about the dangers of using methamphetamines. Coming up, we're going to let you know about a new plan to help communities throughout the state clean up any meth labs they might find.
You might be waking up to some fog in your area this morning, and not just the fog of morning because you're still very, very tired. Looking live this morning in Platteville, a beautiful sunrise there, lots of color. It will be cloudy though pretty much all day, and Hattie says there is more rain coming this afternoon. Her first alert forecast is up next on News 3 this morning.
This
Good morning from the Hattie-O Patio on this Tuesday morning. We're starting with pretty comfortable conditions. A little sunshine out right now with temperatures generally in the 60s. We topped yesterday in the upper 70s here in Madison. Most spots, though, managed to climb to 80 degrees for a high yesterday. It was 80 in Watertown, Lone Rock, and Platteville. 81 in Janesville. The view from the edge of our Skycam, though, this morning, not showing any fog here in Madison, and the fog is pretty limited right now to the Wisconsin River Valley. We've seen some good improvement in other areas, so just quarter-mile visibility in Lone Rock and Boscobel. Here's a live look at Doppler track showing you what's happening right now. No rain across southern Wisconsin. But we don't have to zoom the map too far out to see a little bit of rain activity. Southern Minnesota and central Iowa dealing with some showers and thunderstorms this morning. Then a broken line of shower and thunderstorm activity to our south. That line of showers and thunderstorms to the south is along a cold front, but with warm air moving into the region from the west, we may see a few showers or thunderstorms pop up across southern Wisconsin this afternoon. No severe weather, though, is expected. Temperatures across the upper Midwest range from 41 in International Falls this morning to 76 in St. Louis. So quite a drop in temperatures as you head to the north. Here in Madison, though, it's not terrible, 63 degrees this morning. It is down into the 50s, though, in the Dells and Camp Douglas. Everyone else starting in the 60s. Dew points will stay in the 60s today, so you'll probably notice some of that humidity. Take a look at your future track forecast then. Enjoy the sunshine this morning because more clouds are expected this afternoon, and those pop-up showers and thunderstorms are possible for the afternoon and evening time frame. Not everyone, though, is going to see this rain today. Temperatures should top in the upper 70s, then drop back into the 60s overnight as the rain comes to an end. Here's a look at that extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will climb into the 80s on Wednesday, and then it looks like we'll stay in the 80s through the rest of this week, right into the upcoming weekend. As far as chances for rain, well, there are small chances for rain, mainly in the afternoon on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Things really heat up, though, as we head into next week with highs getting back into the upper 80s. Now let's get a look at your First Alert traffic update this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, quiet start on most of the Madison roadways so far, including on the Beltline. No major delays showing up yet in either direction. Checking out other roads here in Dane County, there is some fog hanging around the area. Make sure you have those headlights on, and a few brake lights are beginning to pop up on the northbound side of Verona Road near the Beltline. That's going to add just a minute or two to your drive. No problems yet with volume downtown around the Capitol and UW campus. Shouldn't be an issue at least for another half hour or so. Other main routes heading into the city, they're cruising along at the posted speeds with no crashes or delays. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you, Hattie. We are continuing to follow the changes being made to accommodate the new Foxconn factory in southeast Wisconsin. The DOT is now holding monthly meetings to let the people who live in Racine County know all about the construction on I-94 that's getting ready for Foxconn. Right now, an 11-mile stretch of the interstate is being revamped with several ramp and lane closures. Another 7-mile stretch on the interstate is going to close this fall. A DOT spokesperson told a group of drivers last night its crews are working on an aggressive schedule to finish that work faster.
A number of police departments and communities are participating in a national effort today aimed at connecting officers with the people they serve. This year's National Night Out event comes just days after a shooting at the WRT radio station in downtown Madison. Within the last week alone, there have been multiple weapons violations and theft calls reported throughout the city. And on the north side over the weekend, a 14-year-old reportedly flashed a gun at a Madison Mallards employee while trespassing in the duck pond. Madison's National Night Out event is taking place pretty much right there at Warner Park tonight. Police, firefighters, and other first responders will be there from 5 to 8, so people living around there can come by, check out some of the specialized equipment, and bring up any concerns they might have with the neighborhood. There are similar events happening tonight in Verona, Beloit, and Janesville, among other communities.
So there's another effort on Madison's north side to help build relationships between the community and the police. They're going to be supported by $140,000 the city's spending from a federal grant to stop violence on the north side. Results from a study and feedback from the community helped create a strategic plan to stop crime in that area. That plan includes a meeting group for kids of color facing barriers to success, professional trainings for community members to de-escalate violence, and then also efforts to repair relationships between police officers and communities of color.
2 Dane County deputies will get special training under a new state program that makes cleaning up meth labs safer and faster. Attorney General Brad Schimmel announced Dane County's Drug Task Force and deputies in 5 other counties will receive a special meth lab storage container. Those containers allow deputies to safely remove methamphetamines from the scene of a crime instead of having to hire out a company to do that, which can help save time and money.
We usually find these at inopportune times, the middle of the night, early in the morning, and it's such a public safety issue that we need to get it contained and collected and under control as quickly as we can.
So these containers are estimated to reduce the cleanup costs for meth-related busts by 90%. Barron, Brown, Eau Claire, Marathon, and Vernon counties will also receive that new equipment. 6:16 right now. Efforts to keep 2 Wisconsin paper mills open are running into problems at the state capitol. Coming up, we'll update the negotiations to give tax breaks to Kimberly-Clark to keep running its Green Bay area factories.
Patty's watching the radar, tracking the next round of rain and possible storms heading our way later today. Not a bad little sunrise this morning. We weren't expecting too much of that with the fog and the clouds in the area, but Hattie will have an update when News 3 This Morning continues.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. The view in Platteville is pretty darn nice this morning. Take a live look from the Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam. Pink sky there, no fog issue in Platteville either. Here's a look at Doppler track. It is showing you some rain to the west of the Mississippi River Valley this morning across parts of Iowa and Minnesota. We do expect a few showers and even some isolated thunderstorms to move into the area a bit later on this afternoon. But a dry start today with temperatures generally in the 60s here across southern Wisconsin. Pretty widespread 50s, though, to the north. Here's a look at your day planner temperatures. Variably cloudy skies today with a high of 78 degrees. There is that chance for a shower or thunderstorm late this afternoon into this evening. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Hattie. It's 6:21 right now to the state capitol now, where a leading Republican says there is not enough support right now to pass an incentives package keeping 2 Kimberly-Clark paper mills open in the Green Bay area. Senator Alberta Darling's the co-chair of the legislature's Finance Committee. She says the Republican majority in the Senate's working on a plan that could keep the now Dallas-based paper company operating in Wisconsin, but it's not there yet. The state assembly passed a tax break for the company earlier this year. The California company that's been renting out electric scooters in Milwaukee is removing them while it works out a new agreement with the city. Milwaukee leaders said the scooters violated city laws, plan to tow them away starting today. Bird Rides Incorporated says it's going to remove those scooters voluntarily while it works with city leaders on a plan to allow them in the future. Meanwhile, the city of Madison is creating a plan if those electric scooters ever make their way here. The Common Council tonight's considering an ordinance to specifically ban people from riding or parking those electric scooters on city streets and sidewalks.
There's a first of its kind campaign happening in Milwaukee right now where the public school district is going door to door to get students enrolled. Voucher programs are becoming more popular in the city, so the district is reporting its enrollment is down to about 78,000 students. That's compared to 97,000 kids who attended public schools in Milwaukee 15 years ago. 28,000 students are using vouchers to go to private schools in the city. Some Wisconsin high school students and parents say they're worried about privacy after administrators banned traditional backpacks from the hallways. Starting September 4th, students at Central High School in La Crosse will not be able to bring their backpack into class unless it's clear. Any regular backpack that's not transparent will have to stay in a locker during the school day. Another high school in La Crosse has had a similar rule in effect for the last 7 years.
That's fascinating.
It's really interesting, yeah.
Really interesting. Almost 6:23 right now on this Tuesday morning. There is significant damage this morning to a popular park in southern Wisconsin. Leah Lynchide has the latest on the vandalism here in a couple of minutes.
And Madison leaders are getting closer to requiring you to pay more to register your car in the city. The day's top stories are next on News 3 this morning. A utility company will be back in Sun Prairie this morning to make final repairs at the site of a gas leak, and not the one that caused the deadly explosion last month.
The city of Janesville is reassessing property for the first time in several years. I'm Josh Butter, live in Janesville this morning with more on what you can expect in your wallet ahead.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome back to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning, almost 6:27 on this Tuesday, August 7th.
A lot nicer morning today than it was yesterday where it was pouring down rain. Let's go outside to Hattie McLean, who is out on her patio this morning. Very nice morning out there, kiddo.
It is, and a big difference from yesterday morning. We had almost an inch of rain across parts of the area yesterday. Take a look, though, outside this morning. Things are pretty quiet. Live look from the Edgewater Skycam showing you sun shining on the buildings downtown in Madison. Pretty quiet picture on the lake early today. We have been talking about fog all morning. Visibility is down to a quarter of a mile in Lone Rock and Boscobel, 3/4 of a mile in Prairie du Chien. But elsewhere, fog is not a real widespread problem, just some patchy, dense fog. Temperatures are in the 50s and 60s. Coolest temperatures north of Dane County this morning, where the Dells and Camp Douglas start in the upper 50s. Everyone else in the 60s. Temperatures today will climb into the upper 70s this afternoon, so pretty seasonable for this time of the year. There will be a chance, though, for a few showers or even some isolated thunderstorms later today. Your first alert traffic update this morning. There is a stalled vehicle on the interstate right at the belt line, so be aware of that. Otherwise, no issues to report. No accidents either. Just a little slow in that construction zone on Verona Road as you head towards the belt line. And that's your first alert traffic.
Hattie, thank you so much. We start this half hour in Sun Prairie, where utility crews will be back there this morning to repair a chemical leak. That leak led to the evacuation of at least 60 homes along Main Street last Friday night. Sun Prairie's fire department says 2 natural gas leaks were repaired that night before people living around there were actually allowed back into their homes. Today, We Energies will be back in the area to fix a 3rd leak involving a harmless chemical known as an odorant, which is added to natural gas to give it that detectable smell. These repairs come just weeks after a deadly explosion downtown that was triggered by a gas leak.
Local housing project this morning's backing off its policy to not let guests visit the people who live there. That plan was originally enacted by Heartland Alliance, which runs the Rethke Terrace, after Madison police responded to 46 calls to the building last month, including 2 stabbings. Rethke is a 60-unit building originally designed for people who are coming out of homelessness, but the people living there now say keeping guests away is against Madison city law, which states that landlords can regulate guests but not prohibit them. The nonprofit Tenant Resource Center is considering legal action against the facility for that policy.
6:29 right now, and police in Grant County are looking for whoever is responsible for tearing down part of a pier, I should say, meant to help people with disabilities spend time on the water.
This is cruel.
Yeah.
Leah Lynchai joins us now from the newsroom with a look at the damage. Good morning, Leah.
Cruel is right, Adam. It happened in Lancaster at the Memorial Park in town there. Police in that city posted these pictures to Facebook overnight. You can see there a part of the overlook has been ripped out of the ground. That's the John Harpin Memorial Pier. It's a handicap-accessible place for folks to fish at the park pond. Officers are asking for help finding whoever did that damage. You can reach them at their phone number, 608-723-4188. You can find that number on our website, too. That's channel3000.com.
Certainly something we will try to update throughout the day, too, over on channel3000.com. Leah, thank you.
It is 6:30 right now. The general manager of Madison Water could get a new contract tonight as the utility deals with a $6 million deficit. Common Council is set to vote on a new 5-year deal for Tom Heikkinen. Mayor Paul Soglin sent Heikkinen a letter last week saying he expects progress on the water utilities budget situation by the end of this year. That includes the utility selling some surplus property, getting a loan from the city, and finalizing a rate increase with the Public Service Commission. Madison Water ratepayers will have to eventually pay that loan back. The mayor also says he expects Heikkinen to report quarterly cash balances and revenue forecasts to the Common Council and to the Water Utility Board so the utility can pay its bills in the future. 6:30 right now. A plan to make you pay another $17 to drive your car in Madison is also set to move forward later today.
The Common Council's executive committee will take up that so-called wheel tax at its meeting tonight. Mayor Paul Soglin first proposed this idea back in June as a way to pay for road repairs and other shortfalls in the city's transportation budget. A $28 county-wide fee is set to go into effect this fall. That's on top of the $75 the state charges for vehicle registration as well. If approved, the new city wheel tax would generate an estimated $3.3 million.
The executive committee is also expected to continue talking about holding off on giving out any new liquor licenses downtown for the next 6 months. The mayor says he's hoping that's going to cut down on the amount of violence near State Street. Alders are also going to talk about whether to create a special task force focusing on crimes taking place near State Street and downtown. The council's executive committee is set to meet at 4:30 this afternoon. State lawmakers are meeting today to look at how cities across Wisconsin assess the value of their properties. The city of Janesville is just starting the process of reassessing homes and businesses.
It's the first time in several years that there's been a reevaluation like this, and it's estimated the average property assessment could increase by 20% in that community. Obviously, an impact we're talking about on taxpayers here. Josh Spreiter's live in Janesville, looking ahead to what residents might be able to expect. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. City officials say this is indeed a good thing for residents here, saying it shows the economy continues to get better. The city assessor of Janesville says the seller's real estate market has drastically increased prices for residential properties in the past 2 years. The assessor's division will spend now through March collecting data on recent transactions and comparing those prices to the listed assessment of each property. The last time the city went through this process was back in 2011.
So from January 1st of 2018 through December 31st of 2018, we'll be collecting data and reviewing those sales based off of the information in the sale prices. And then that information will be used to calibrate where we go with the revaluation and how much of a property value increase we'll see with the market that we have now.
In order to be in compliance with the State Department of Revenue, the assessments and market values need to be within 90% to 110%. City officials say Janesville's property assessments already sit below that range this year and are projected to fall even more. Right now, city officials tell me it's hard to see how much of a change would affect taxpayers, though they're predicting around a 20% increase right now. They'll be sending out the notice if you're seeing a change around this time next summer. All of this information can be found right now with links to the city's website at channel3000.com.
Certainly a lot of people in that community going to be watching that. All right, Josh Spreiter reporting live from Janesville this morning. Thank you.
It is almost 6:34 this morning, and the head of Madison's community radio station is considering new security measures after a shooting inside the building over the weekend. We'll have an update in the morning sprint.
And the State Fair today is celebrating dozens of Wisconsin's family farms, arguably the foundation of our state. We'll tell you the specific reason why when News 3 This Morning returns. Welcome back to the program. 6:37 now on this Tuesday morning. We always ask you to share your morning with us.
I love it.
I just figured I'd let you chuckle on that one.
Good
This
stuff.
is Renee posted this on Facebook. This is Brutus, by the way. He's one of 6 dogs in her family. Yeah, Brutus is looking like it's that kind of morning. It's a Tuesday, Brutus. I know. I'm feeling you.
You got this, bud.
You can hang in there. Thank you, Renee.
Maybe Brutus not getting enough attention or something, or treats. You never know. What does your morning look like? Hopefully it's a little better than Brutus's here. Take a picture and post it on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram page using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. Also, if you'd like to caption Brutus, I want to see it really badly. We always share our favorites right here on the program. So speaking of furry friends, this week there is a chance to bring home a new pet for a reduced price. The Dane County Humane Society is reducing its adoption fees this week to $5 for adult and senior cats. That's any cat older than 6 months old. Adoption fees for kittens are also down to $75 this week as well. All cats are spayed and neutered, have their age-appropriate vaccinations. The deal goes through Saturday at the locations there on your screen. You can also head over to giveshelter.org for more information.
State Fair today is recognizing dozens of Wisconsin families who have dedicated their lives to farming for generations. The fair is giving awards to Wisconsin's century farms that have been operating in the state for the last 100 years. There are more than 30 families in our area getting that award. Those families are getting into the fair for free today. They're going to be able to get a certificate that's being presented to them this morning at a ceremonial breakfast. Congratulations to them.
Very well deserved.
100 years. And then Pam was telling us, too, there's some sesquicentennial farms as well, 150 years.
It's really hard to kind of think about that. She put it in comparison to, like, think about a retail space being around for that long. It's pretty incredible.
That's multiple generations. That's like 4, 5 generations.
Yeah, that's amazing. 6:39 right now. We are looking at another cloudy, possible rainy day today, especially this afternoon. There is some fog out in parts of Wisconsin this morning, southern Wisconsin. And Hattie's here to let us know when and where storms may hit later on this afternoon.
First, though, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. Wish them a happy birthday right here on News 3 This Morning. Welcome back to the program. You're looking live from the WISC-TV Skycam this morning, looking out on the west side of Madison. There is some fog a little bit in our area this morning. Hattie McLean is also talking about the chance, potentially, of some storms coming later on this afternoon and evening. We'll touch base with her here in a moment, get her forecast. First, though, at 6:43, city alders are set to approve a more than $10 million contract tonight for the Old Brick Botanical Garden expansion project.
The city and a fundraising group are splitting the total cost of $12 million for the upgrades, which does include a new learning center and an energy-saving greenhouse. Last month, the city announced it would also sell so-called mini bonds to help pay for the work. In October, residents will be able to invest in a $500 bond and receive a tax-free interest return later on. Those bonds will be issued on a first-come, first-served basis.
Alders are also talking tonight about creating a food storage and distribution center to help small grocery stores throughout the area. That food terminal would give those independent stores and small food businesses a place to store food, provide space for their delivery trucks to pick up and drop off items. City is being asked to spend $100,000 from its Healthy Retail Access program for this project. The council's meeting starts at 6 o'clock.
A group in Madison is using the anniversary of historic bombings to call for peace. Yesterday marked 72 years since the bombings at Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. The Women's International League for Peace and Freedom is hosting a lantern lighting event at the Tenney Park Locks tonight, where they will honor Japanese bombing victims and talk about steps toward creating a world free of nuclear weapons.
63 degrees right now. Much different morning this morning than yesterday morning. Let's check in with Hattie McLean. Good morning, kiddo.
Good morning. Yeah, you don't need your umbrella this morning, and if you're headed to the state fair, you may want to take it along, but it's just a small chance for rain. It'll actually be a great day to head to the fair. Temperatures will be in the 70s. West Allis topping only at 74 degrees today, so comfortable on those temperatures. Variably cloudy skies expected. Again, just that slight chance for rain. Here's a look at satellite and radar trends. We're looking at some high-level clouds moving into the area. A little bit thicker cloud cover, though, as you approach the Mississippi River Valley. No rain showing up across southern Wisconsin at this hour, but we do have some rain on the radar map. A broken line of showers and thunderstorms to our south moving through St. Louis this morning. A little bit of activity across Iowa and Minnesota as well. Those showers and thunderstorms in Minnesota and Iowa will likely hold together long enough to move into southern Wisconsin a little bit later on this afternoon. Again, not everyone's going to see this rain, just a small chance for a few showers or an isolated thunderstorm. No severe weather is expected. Wednesday is likely going to be quiet across the region with sunshine and warmer temperatures. The next cold front moving in on Thursday brings a chance for rain back to the area in the afternoon. Here's a live look from our Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville this morning. Beautiful start, a little hazy sunshine early this morning in Platteville. Fog has not been an issue there. Visibility is at 3 miles right now. Through the Wisconsin River Valley, though, we're looking at some fog, reducing visibilities to less than a mile. Elsewhere across southeastern Wisconsin, a little bit of fog now in Juneau as well as Waukesha. So be aware of that fog early today. Doesn't seem to be an issue, though, here in Madison. 63 is our temperature in the capital city. The Dells back to 60 right now, 66 in Mineral Point. Dew points are going to hold in the 60s today as well, so it's still going to feel a little bit on the humid side. Pinpoint City forecast shows you that the chance for rain exists today. 78 in New Glarus as well as Evansville and Milton this afternoon. To the west, 79 in Prairie du Chien, 77 in Platteville as well as Cuba City. And to the north, temperatures topping in the upper 70s. Mauston 78, 77 in Montello. Here in Madison, 78 is the forecast high today. That chance for rain is pretty small. Most areas picking up less than a half an inch. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. Temperatures are going to warm up after this. We're looking at 80s for highs on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Chances for rain in the afternoon return Thursday. Temperatures really heat up next week. We're back into the upper 80s. And we'll be talking about heat index once again.
Oh,
look at this beautiful dog, though.
Super pretty.
Tico and Waukesha. 76. You may have to dodge a few raindrops, but shouldn't have any troubles getting a walk in.
Tico's looking at those raindrops going, no, not really.
He doesn't care. Tico has a good hair day every day.
Right. Good stuff. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Morning Sprint's coming up next on News 3 this morning.
6:50 now, time for the morning sprint. Hattie says we might want to keep that umbrella handy this afternoon. Leah Linscheid has the latest on a vandalism investigation at a Grant County park.
Josh Breiter's live in Janesville with how that city's first reassessment in years could affect taxpayers. But we start along the Rock River, where the medical examiner is now working to figure out how a 65-year-old man found there on Monday actually died. Sergeant with the Janesville Police Department told reporters it did not appear the man had been in the water for long. Authorities say they do know who he is and say after an autopsy today, the medical examiner will release his name. A police department spokesman said there had not been any reports of missing or endangered people in that area recently.
The president of the WORT board says there will soon be more cameras and a key card entry system at the station downtown after a shooting over the weekend. Police are still looking for the person who came into that building on Bedford Street early Sunday morning and fired multiple shots into the studio. No one was seriously injured. Police do believe the shooter targeted the station, but they don't think this was a direct attack on the media.
Crews are going to be back working in downtown Sun Prairie today to fix a natural gas leak that contributed to a major evacuation Friday night. The fire department says 2 other leaks were repaired then before residents in a half-mile area were allowed to go back home. A We Energy spokesperson said what's being fixed today is a 3rd chemical leak that's harmless. It gives natural gas a detectable smell.
Police in Lancaster are looking for whoever is responsible for destroying part of a handicap-accessible fishing pier. These pictures were posted to the department's Facebook page overnight. Part of the John Harpin Memorial Pier was ripped out of the ground there. If you know anything about the vandalism, you're asked to give Lancaster Police a call at that number right there on your screen. You can also find it on our website. That's channel3000.com.
Leah, thank you. A local housing project is backing off its policies to not let guests visit the people living there. This is happening in Madison. The plan was enacted after Madison police responded to 46 calls at Rethke Terrace last month alone, including 2 stabbings. That complex was originally designed to help people struggling with homelessness. Now, the nonprofit Tenant Resource Center is considering legal action against the facility, saying its policy was breaking city law.
A number of communities and police departments today are participating in a national effort to help connect officers with people they serve. Madison's National Night Out event's taking place at Warner Park. Police, firefighters, paramedics are going to be there from 5 to 8 tonight to meet people living on the city's north side, show off some of their gear, talk to neighbors about any concerns they might have.
And not a bad day. We're starting on a dry note this morning, but there is still some rain on the radar map to our west. These showers and thunderstorms in Iowa are likely going to track into southern Wisconsin, but not until later this afternoon. Here's a look at our temperatures today. We're starting in the 60s here in Madison. We'll top at 78 right around 4 p.m. And that's your first alert forecast.
Hattie, thank you. There is no rain in the forecast today for parts of California where serious wildfires continue to burn. Authorities say one of those fires north of Sacramento is the largest in state history. That fire alone has grown to more than 283,000 acres, which is roughly the size of LA. It's one of nearly 20 fires currently burning in California. One of the newest fires is in Cleveland National Forest, about an hour and a half north of San Diego. Those flames spread so quickly that crews had to airlift hikers out.
The prosecution's star witness is testifying again today in the government's bank fraud and tax evasion trial of the president's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort. Rick Gates told jurors in federal courtroom in Virginia yesterday he conspired with Manafort to falsify tax returns. Manafort served as President Trump's campaign chair for about 6 months. Gates pleaded guilty in February for lying to the FBI and agreed to help prosecutors convict Manafort.
Back in Madison, there are some changes to polling places ahead of next Tuesday's primaries. The new state building at Hill Farms does not meet accessibility requirements, so voting in Ward 84 will be moved to Mount Olive Lutheran Church on Whitney Way. People living in Ward 85 are seeing their polling place moved to Wellspring United Methodist Church on South Hill Drive due to space constraints.
To the state capitol now, where a leading Republican says there is not enough support right now to pass an incentives package keeping 2 Kimberly-Clark paper mills open in the Green Bay area. Senator Alberta Darling says the Republican majority in the Senate's working on a plan that could keep the Dallas-based paper company operating in Wisconsin, but it's not there yet. The state assembly passed the tax break earlier this year.
Right now, the city of Janesville is reassessing property for the first time since 2011. This comes as the state study committee will meet later this morning, taking a look at the property tax assessment practices across the state. Janesville officials expect average property assessments there could increase by 20% next year. The city assessor says this is a good thing because the seller's real estate market has drastically increased prices for residential properties in the past 2 years. City officials tell me it's hard to say how much such a change would affect taxpayers, though they're predicting around a 20% increase. The Assessors Division will spend now through March collecting data. The city will send out assessment change notices around this time next year.
Josh, thank you. The city's Common Council is scheduled to vote on a 5-year contract for Madison Water Utilities general manager as the utility tries to dig itself out of a $6 million hole. Now, Tom Heikkinen was at the helm when that shortfall was discovered earlier this year. Mayor Paul Soglin says going forward, he expects him to report quarterly cash balances to council and the Water Utility Board.
There will be 2 new members sworn into Madison's Common Council tonight. Keith Furman will be replacing Mark Clear as the alder for District 19. Until the spring election, he represents the city's west side, including the new Exact Sciences building. Alan Arntzen will finish District 13 alder Sarah Eskrich's term. He'll represent an area near campus and South Park Street. Both Clear and Eskrich are taking full-time jobs that are going to be taking up a lot of their time.
A proposal to add a $17 wheel tax for cars registered in Madison is set to move forward later today. The Common Council's Executive Committee is taking up the idea at its meeting tonight. Mayor Soglin first proposed the idea in June as a way to pay for road repairs and other shortfalls in the city's transportation budget. This would be on top of a $75 state fee already in effect and a $28 countywide fee that is set to start this fall.
6:56 right now. No wet highways like yesterday to deal with. Let's get a look at first alert traffic this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Things still looking good on the Beltline, but that westbound side is continuing to pick up. I would expect some brake lights here within the next 10 to 15 minutes. John Nolan, you're tapping the brakes inbound and outbound approaching the North Shore Drive intersection. That's going to add a couple minutes into adding to your drive time. Usual volume showing up on Verona Road, north and southbound between Highway PD and the Beltline ramps. But other main routes heading into the city, they're cruising along at the usual speeds with no crashes or delays.
All right, thank you, Josh.
And this morning, we're looking at mostly clear skies here in Madison right now, but look for some clouds to move into the region. Temperatures will climb from the 60s this morning back into the upper 70s this afternoon. Cannot rule out through the afternoon, evening, a few showers or even some isolated thunderstorms.
Come on, rule it out. Why not?
Wish I could, but I can't.
All right, if you want to keep track of the radar for yourself, you can always download that Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic app.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.